Well, we're here to talk to leading women in the Billie Jean King Cup, about people who inspire them, how to lead and all that kind of thing. And I just wanted to start with, who do you think, back to when you were kind of a young girl growing up in tennis, who were the women that inspired you?
Oh gosh, there's a long list of women who have inspired me over the years, but as a young girl, I guess growing up and playing tennis and following tennis, Monica Seles was someone I really looked up to. She was such a fierce competitor. I loved the way she played, I loved the way she went about her tennis. And the way she came back from her stabbing as well, I just thought it was so inspirational. But I've had, a number of different women who I've looked up to. Judy Murray has also been someone I've looked up to. She was obviously in the position that I was in, as captain of the Billie Jean King Cup team, and I was, I guess I played under her captaincy, and she was great to me when I was a player, but also when I moved into this role, giving me great advice, and she still does to this day. My mother's been so inspirational. She's had a tough life, coming to the UK as a refugee from Laos. She is just an unbelievable woman, such a strong woman. And of course, Billie Jean King. I mean, who hasn't she inspired? Having this competition named in her honour, and with her supporting women's tennis and being really a leader for women and campaigning for what's right, quite frankly, for women. There would be no WTA tour, there would be no kind of professional women's tennis had it not been for her and her leadership rounding everyone up. So, those are just a few women, but there are many more.
I was going to say, it's a great group, that. I wanted to take you back to when you've got a long history in this competition, obviously, as a player. You mentioned there having played under Judy as well. When you went into the role of captain, about 8 years ago now, can I take you back to maybe your first few ties? What are your kind of lasting memories from that?
Oh wow, yes. I'd like to think I've evolved and grown into the role. But look, it was an opportunity that came up, which, funnily enough, Judy was the person who encouraged me to go for it. And I'll never forget, at the time I wasn't sure whether I was ready for it, to take a challenge like this on, because I'd been retired for a few years. But she was very encouraging towards me, and really helped me believe that I could do it. And going back to those first few ties, it was obviously a different dynamic, because I wasn't that kind of soon off the tour, and the players I guess I was captaining, I used to train alongside, I played alongside, I was with them in the team previously. So it took some adjustments, but they were very welcoming as well towards me, and made me feel comfortable and were respectful. There was mutual respect there between the players, and I guess having me in the role as captain. And I guess what helped is that we got off to a good start, because I remember we were in the Euro-Africa zone. I think we were in Estonia. That was my first tie, and we were victorious, and we qualified for the playoffs to play against Romania later that year. So look, I think the fact that we got off to a good start, I was also very fortunate to have the best players at the time as part of my team. And you're only as good as the players. So they were fantastic. And I think with each year, the team's gone from strength to strength. I think I've grown into the role. I've obviously grown in confidence, and I'd like to think now I'm very clear with my expectations, not just from the players, but from the members of staff as well. And they're very clear with how I operate. And we've got a good kind of camaraderie and dynamic going.
Yeah, you can see that. I wonder, it's such a unique role, I think, captaincy in the Billie Jean King Cup, because you're part coach, part mentor, part kind of bringing everyone together. There's so many different parts to the role. I wonder, what were the qualities that maybe you've grown into, or that you wanted to bring to that role, and that maybe you'd seen in other leaders in the sport?
Yeah, I think my experience as a player and playing under, I think I played under 4 different captains during my professional career, and I record what worked, what didn't work, and I used my experience there I guess to bring it to the team and how I saw the team growing. And what I thought would be beneficial to the players. And, there were a lot of open conversations, which I think is important in a team environment, especially this one where you're bringing a number of individuals into a team environment. So, you're taking them out of their comfort zone as well and working with different people. And, we don't necessarily get the opportunity to do that together week in, week out. So there's got to be a degree of flexibility. But I think, I guess my greatest skills, qualities in the role are the soft skills. And, understanding, I think also the biggest benefit is having been there myself as a player, understanding the nerves, the emotions, the stress, and being able to respect that and give a player space if they need to. And the open conversations are just ongoing. Every tie we want to be better than the last. There's always time for reflection. I ask the players the same questions, not just the players, but the staff as well. It is, what did we do well? What didn't we do well? What can we do better? It continues to evolve.
And I wonder, it's hard for you because you've had that playing experience and the captaincy experience, but do you have a key memory, it can be on or off the court, from being in the BJK Cup over the years?
Oh, well, I think the most recent one is definitely up there. Our playoff in April against Holland and Germany. I had to make a couple of tough decisions, and there were late decisions, which fortunately went our way. You're always navigating, I guess, the team, and there are always difficult conversations to have. And for me, I'm not someone who ever wants to let anyone down. I very much, I want everyone to feel good, and I feel like for the most part I'm good at making people feel good, because I know if they're happy, if they're feeling good, then they're likely to perform well. But you're not always the person who is going to deliver good news, but you have to make it work and you have to figure out what's best for the team. But I think I'm particularly proud of our recent tie to qualify for the finals once again. It was a great team effort. On a surface that has historically been very tricky for the players in my team. Look, I don't know, if I'm just trying to think of a specific moment in time, I don't know, I feel like every tie that I've been captain for, there's been something during the week that's gone really well, or perhaps not gone so well, which, sparks a memory for other reasons. But for the most part, it's we all try and have a good time, and I think the players understand that.
You mentioned last year reaching the last four. It was such a great moment for your team, and British women's tennis is in such a great position this year. For the first time since 1986, there's 3 women in the top 50, which is remarkable. I wonder what challenges and what positives come with having that strength in depth, because there's so much to choose from now.
There are only positives, quite frankly. The strength in depth is what we've been after in British tennis for so long now, and we're here as a result of investment in the women's game, and from the LTA, and I think everyone's grateful for that. And in terms of how the female tennis players are treated, not just the ones at pro level, but coming up through grassroots level all the way through the different stages. There are heaps of opportunities now and access to really good information that young girls and women have access to. So, the fact that we have 3 British women in the top 50 has been a result of some of that work. And the popularity of tennis in the UK has just continued to boom because we've got fantastic role models. But look, I always want to be in a position where it is difficult to make choices or selections as to who is going to play, because then you've got a team that is strong, you've got competition for places, the players are always going to feel motivated, there isn't any room to feel content with where they are in the pecking order. But most of all, this is a collective feeling that I want to continue to build, where they've got each other's backs, and they see the bigger picture, and they see what success looks like, not just individually, but for them as a team. And they're all hungry and motivated. This is, I'm lucky I can captain a team of players who are highly motivated and really want to win this competition. So that makes my job a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people in the team who you've been part of their development since they were very young. I wonder, as a coach, as a captain, how do you kind of find yourself in that role? How do you enjoy that role, being kind of an inspirational figure to them?
Well, that's very kind of you.
A mentor to them as well, yeah.
I think more mentor, to be able to offer guidance when they need it, but also respect the fact that they also know what they're doing. They're grown-up women who have very clear ambitions and where they're heading and how they're developing their games. So it's a cooperative kind of effort, and my relationship with the players is key, but it's also key with their coaches and family members as well. That's part of the job, to have those relationships with a number of different people, because I'm trying to get the best out of the players. I've got, I don't have a huge amount of time to perhaps make the impact or influence. So when I do have them, it's got to be right. It's got to be clear. We've all got to be on the same page, and I'm very particular about that.
And I wonder, in terms of coaching a team in this very individual sport, it's a challenge that I'm sure coaches up and down the country deal with when they're bringing players together. I wonder, what's your top tip for bringing individual players together in a team environment?
Yeah, I don't think there's just one tip, but the biggest, I guess the most important one is respect. I think everyone needs to be clear, and standards need to be set high. There's got to be respect, and it's got to work both ways. And to get to that level, that requires open and honest conversations and trust, and that only develops through time. So to get the best out of anyone, I think having that mutual respect for each other is the most important starting point.
That's fair enough. Sounds like a good tip. Looking ahead to the finals, I know we've still got a bit of time to go, but what are your hopes, your expectations for your team?
Yeah. We are a very ambitious team. We've come close in the last few years, reaching the semi-finals twice in the past 3 years. And I think the last one in Malaga still stings, and it's not something that's easily forgotten, but it's something that motivates everyone on the team to do better. I believe as captain that we've got the players who can help win this competition for Great Britain, and I really believe that I believe we can do it. Whether it happens this year, whether it happens next year, it will happen. And the fact that, like I said before, the players are motivated, they want this more than anything. For me, when I hear that from them, it's a breath of fresh air. That's the biggest thing I want to hear. I want to win this. We're going to do whatever it takes, and we're going to put the time in to make sure we get it right this time.
That belief is key. You mentioned at the beginning Billie Jean King. She's obviously such a huge part of the history of tennis, but also of this competition in particular. She's such an important figure. I wonder, in your interactions with her, and maybe just through the work that she's done, what inspires you about Billie Jean King?
Everything. Billie Jean King is a force of nature. I'll never forget meeting her for the very first time when I was in my early 20s, and I was playing world team tennis actually, and she came onto the court, and I'd literally just got off, 13-hour flight. Anne, why aren't you moving your feet faster? She was so demanding, but it's Billie Jean King. You do what Billie Jean King tells you to
move
do.
Your feet.
You move your feet. I was like, they only go so fast, though, Billie. And I'm really jet lagged. But no, she has done so much for not just for women, but for the sport. Constantly promoting it, constantly pushing the right messages through, inspiring so many people, and you know, everything she's done for gender equality, and to give us now the platform to perform, inspire others, and do what we love is remarkable.
Definitely. Well, thanks so much, Anne, and best of luck for the finals.
Thank you.